All right, welcome to another live stream here. Today, I've got Tamra Garman with Pinnacle Realty, and she is the listing agent on these incredible condos that I've driven by like 100 times on Ellis Blvd. Mm-hmm. And even being a broker, I finally was like, I just got to call the listing agent and see what the scoop with this place is because they're awesome. And it was just kind of a whim thing, and I'm grateful that you decided to come on and be a part of this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you called.
Thank you.
It was a fun tour we had. So
we did. We met yesterday, actually, and I got like the full tour and got some photos, which I'll be putting on the website and on a blog also, so everybody can see a little bit more about everything. But let's lead in here. And Tamra, thank you for coming. And so you work for Pinnacle. Can you give me a little background about how long you've been licensed and what kind of got you motivated to come into the field?
Sure. I was licensed in 2016.
Okay.
And I started with Iowa Realty. I was there for a couple of years. And I switched in 2018 to Pinnacle Realty, which was still fairly new.
Yeah.
And it's grown a lot. And so that's where I'm at.
They've grown a ton over there.
Yes.
Kudos to Doug.
Yes. And Jeremiah Harris, our managing broker.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there's some big changes going on over there.
Good.
My dad was in real estate when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Jim Happel, and he was the Happel buyers in Happel if you lived in Iowa or Cedar Rapids for a long time.
Yeah, and then they were bought out by Iowa Realty at some point, right?
Yes. So he got out of real estate, but that was something that I always wanted to do. We had another business, he and I together.
Yeah.
And as that ran its course, it was time for a new career.
That's
and that
cool.
was in 2016. So
yeah, in real estate, like you said, it's kind of a tough career to decide, hey, I'm going to go all in here because it is 100% commission for the most part. There are some other,
some
jobs.
arrangements, some places, yeah.
Yeah, but ultimately it's like, you're kind of the destiny or whatever of your own ship. So if you don't have it figured out, it can be very tough at times. And I know that I've had very tough times, but it made me a lot stronger. And then, you either evolve or you don't.
Right, right. And the market's always changing. So even in my short 7-8 years, we've seen a lot of changes. So
yeah, no, that's incredible. Well, I actually was fortunate enough to meet your father yesterday.
Yes.
And I didn't actually know that he was your father. And I knew Byers and Happel, like we had talked about a bit, because Lindsay Byers graduated high school with me the same year from Washington here in town.
Yeah.
And what was it? It was
her dad's dad.
Okay.
Was my dad's partner.
There you go. So
yeah.
Incredible.
Goes way back.
Yeah, so I'm like randomly like, oh, okay, well, like this web is connecting even greater for me because I always knew about that and kind of knew the story, but I never met, Jim, of course. And then I didn't realize he was kind of, a key person in this project also.
Right. So he's partners with Steve Emerson.
That makes sense now.
And so my dad had the concept and drew the drawings, the idea, and he wanted the lighthouse type effect and had laid it
with
out.
With the atrium, right?
With the atrium.
Yep.
And things happened and the building or that location went to somebody else. And so through the years that he kept the drawings and then got them out when the time was right.
That's incredible.
Came together. So it is the beginning of the West Side flood mitigation.
Yeah.
So the flood wall, that was the very beginning of the West Side flood wall, was built attached. There's an inch separation between the wall and the building. And so then the city will be connecting and going on towards downtown. So they started at the southwest side about the same time.
Yeah.
So they're merging into the middle.
That's really cool. And so the area that this is at on Ellis Blvd, what we talked about a bit ago, but like just to brief everybody else. So what was in that spot before this project took place?
Yeah. So it was interesting. This actual location was Harper's Marina way back. I know in the 60s, 70s. And I'm not sure when that transpired into Dockside Restaurant. I think in the later 80s, 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere in the early 2000s, it became Jack Henry Salon and Spa. And then the flood of '08 happened, which even though that was on a 500-year floodplain ground, we went beyond that in '08, so it got flooded.
Yeah.
And then they sold back to the city, and then the city sold the lot. They tore down the old building.
Gotcha.
And so he bought that, raised the dirt 3 feet, so it's even higher. And that building is actually, FEMA has designated it out of the floodplain because of the dirt work that was all done.
Perfect.
So.
And so, like, and just to piggyback on that, I know, like, in this community at least, like, we all got hit hard in '08, right? So it's like, I remember even in, I think it was 2015 or 16, we were sandbagging again.
Right.
It didn't come up, thank God. But, touring the building yesterday, it totally makes sense now. It's like, the garage is on the main level, and you're already built up, an extra 3 feet, and then the garage. So it's like,
Right.
It's all concrete down there, and the building's set for, being able to handle this. And people might be like, well, but what if it floods again? Well, if it floods again, we're all flooded. It turns out, the building we're sitting in right now at the Water Tower place down here by Nubo, all these neighborhoods are flooded again. So it's kind of like, do you take a risk or not? And
hopefully that
part of life,
that was a one-time in
at least
many
our life.
lifetimes.
That's right. At least like 4 or 5 lifetimes for her.
Right,
now.
right. So, and like we said, a lot of things have changed to protect different areas of the downtown, and on the west side now, that is finally getting finished. If people tried to cross First Avenue, First Street, that's all going on right now. So.
Yeah, like the Big Grove, or I think it is. So there's just awesome stuff in this community happening, and honestly, like, if we just take it back a step, it's like that flood made this community so much better.
It's really hard to say that, but yes,
I think it's safe now. I can finally say it like publicly. Like, everything cleaned up a lot,
There's been so many things done for protection.
Yeah.
But then advancements in bringing in new business and new buildings, and they have to be protected. So
absolutely,
it is definitely a positive. We're turning it into a very good positive.
I think so. It's like you got to make lemonade, and I think that's just more about life, right? It's like, if you think you're going to control Mother Nature or every aspect of your life, even the small things you can't control at times. So it's like, hey, we just got to find a way to be grateful and have grace for the process and be like, that's kind of the fun. We don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly, exactly. We don't. So
we get to create. If we did, then there'd be nothing like this.
It'd be boring.
It would suck. It'd be like the worst life ever. It's like, it'd be like a video game that you beat 1,000,000 times. Not that you probably know that reference, but I know for me, you're like, I'm done with that one.
Yeah, I understand that. So
yeah, very cool. Well, good. So kind of just continuing on, we actually, which was awesome, Jan Holaby let us into one of the units also yesterday. And that was cool. And for people that don't know or that aren't agents, it's a small community if you are one. Jan's another agent that has been in the business for a long time and a good friend of mine from way back in the day. And she's doing great. And her unit is awesome. And I'll have pictures of her unit too. She was, awesome.
Very gracious to help us out with that. Yes.
Absolutely.
So Jan moved in, and her husband moved in a year ago, and so they just have had 1 year there. But beautiful unit. I got to work with Jan as the seller side, and she was the buyer side, and helped her with all of her selections because that's what I do.
Right.
These units aren't finished when you write your offer.
Right.
You get to pick everything: your cabinets, your quartz or granite.
You get to make it yours.
You make it yours. So
that's actually a perfect segue. So, like, what kinds of materials are in some of these units that, obviously, like any builder, there's a nice palette that I'm sure you can kind of choose from in terms of like material type. But then, if you wanted to go crazy and upgrade, I'm sure nobody's going to hurt you if you want to open your checkbook up, right?
Right. And we've had some people do that, and we've had some people that kept on the budget and said, I know hardwood floor instead of vinyl is really important to me, but that's all they upgraded.
Yeah.
Others have done, nothing or a lot. So
they're great units. Like, the template is awesome.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So you have, we're doing a good quality cabinet, and you choose your door and your stain or paint, And each kitchen gets a little bit unique design to it based on that person's use and what they want in it, which particular kind of cabinets.
It includes an island, right?
Yes.
Which I think is important to point out because an island means a lot more premium countertop
Yes.
in terms of budget. So, there's an island included is what I'm saying, and that's going to have a nice countertop attached to it.
Yes, quartz or granite.
Yeah.
So we've got people doing either one. So there's an allowance for that. You've got stainless steel smudge-proof appliances included, including a washer dryer that's white, not stainless, but
Hey, that's an upgrade. It's like, I don't know who cares about that, but whatever.
it's in the laundry room. So you have your laundry and all your appliances included. The island is today most people don't want the formal dining room.
Yeah.
So you're incorporating that into as an eating space typically.
Absolutely.
You can make the island smaller if you want to have a standalone dining room. There's room for that too. But that's what most people have done.
Yeah.
And it's just an open floor plan then to the living room and your view of the river, the city park, the golf course.
That view I saw yesterday was incredible. It was awesome.
Yeah, so you're looking upstream or downstream. We even have some units still looking straight across the river.
Very cool. So that's another good point. So what's kind of the price point of like the basic units? Like what's the range of the price? And then also square footage and then garage space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have one bedroom left at 260. That's 1,050 square feet.
Yep.
And it's a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And each unit comes with a 1-stall garage included in the price.
Good. Yeah.
There are some extra spaces available to purchase to add to your unit. 2 bedroom.
While they last.
While they last, exactly.
And in this building, just to piggyback, that has become one of the biggest selling points for these units because, and some people actually have bought 3 or 4 spaces, and then I think they sell them for more money because it's like a mini market for garage stalls.
Here where you are.
In Water Tower
yeah.
Place, sorry to specify, but because it's not similar, but it's a kind of a luxury condo
Yes.
place where that stuff is limited, right? So
Right.
that's what we've seen over time here, and this one was built, I think it was what was it, 05 or somewhere in there. It was a while ago, but, so that's good that, if you're interested in that style of living, if you get in now, those garage spaces, you buy a couple of them,
You
maybe,
can,
I don't know.
yes, you can. So we've had people that definitely buy 2. I haven't had anybody buy multiple more than that. So at this point.
That's because nobody's been there yet.
Yeah, they haven't
in
gotten
terms
the
of
idea.
Yeah, it's like once the idea takes, everybody will be like.
They'll go, oh, hey, these are worth something later. So which
it's like
they
a stock,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a way.
But so we have 2 floor plans with a 2 bedroom, 2 bath.
Yep.
The Maid of Iowa, these are named after river boats because we're on the river.
Hey, that's fun.
The Maid of Iowa is what we kind of call a split floor plan with bedroom on each side of the living and kitchen.
Nice.
And 1,400 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a under roofline deck that's 10 by 12, which is a nice size deck.
Yeah.
And then the Delta Queen is the corner unit, and it's 1,500 square feet, has a 10 by 14 deck, and each unit has bay windows, so you can take advantage of the view.
Yeah, great lighting.
Location, right?
And the ceilings they're almost 10 feet.
Right. They're
So-
just a couple inches short of 10 feet.
I think that, that's something that we don't think about much. It's like if you go into a house that's 1,500 square feet, for instance, and it's got 8-foot ceilings, like that feels like a lot smaller. Because what we don't take into consideration is cubic feet and how that makes
Yes.
us feel. And that makes us feel different. So not all square footage is the same, I guess is
And
what I'm saying.
windows.
And windows, absolutely.
So when
Yeah,
you're in
depth
the
of vision.
corner unit,
Yeah.
you've got multiple direction window and light coming in different parts of the day and
Beautiful
a lot
windows.
more outdoor view. And you're up high, so it's still private.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why the bay windows too.
Those are cool. No, I mean, it was really, really awesome just feeling the natural light. Like, we didn't even turn the lights on. and it was like way bright pretty much in every area, even like areas that were off the beaten path. Like I could still look in there without even having to think about a light and not think about it too much. So it was cool.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
You know, so that's why it's cool to have somebody that's not, you know, seeing it through the same eyes come and just say, hey, well, what? And I happen to be in real estate, so it's like I see it with my kind of, you know, similar vision to you, but like.
Yeah, you're looking at it fresh, and I've been looking at it for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's where it's like great for us agents to like team up like this and be able to help each other, man, because we all like, you know, have the same goal, right? It's like try to like basically just convey properties and do it in the best way and allow people's creativity to, you know, it's most fun when you have projects kind of like this one, in my opinion, that are, you know, really creatively inspired and they're intentional, right? It's not just like, hey, I'm selling a house, or it's like, this is a really fun, cool thing because it started out as an imagination somewhere and here it is.
It did. And it's with this, just like the building you're in, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's a different opportunity. It's unique to Cedar Rapids, and you've got the park. So the building is about 2/3 occupied right now. It takes about 4 months to finish out, 4 to 5 months to finish out a unit, just because of supply chain issues we've had in the past, although that's getting better.
It's always better to like, if you come up a little sooner, awesome. Nobody's usually mad about that.
Yeah, right.
From my experience.
Right. But people that have moved in, many of them have bought bikes that didn't have bikes before, because you've got the park right there. The bike trail's going to be going behind the building and on down over all the way to Cedar Lake.
Yep.
And on to, when they build the berm, there'll be a bike path all the way to the amphitheater and on downtown. So you'll
incredible.
have 2 trails, and right now you can go down through Ellis Park, and
it's cool that like there's really like a pedestrian focus now.
Yeah.
And that's obviously because they're putting a ton of money in downtown. Nubo's already kind of got its thing. And, you know, there's always a little competition with Marion, and they look like they're kicking butt over there last time I was there. So it's like, but it's good though, because it connects us at a different way, right? Like, if you think about, you know, if you're from the area and you think about like, let's say Mount Vernon Road, it's like, that's like an interstate. It's like what, 5 lanes? Like, and you don't
think of walking there.
You don't, you know? And so like that to me feels like, you know, the sense of community is superseded by the functionality of the traffic system, which I'm not an engineer. I'm not trying to say that I know best. I'm just saying that, you know, if you're trying to live somewhere and have like an experience or a lifestyle, they're doing a pretty good job in this downtown area and by the river to kind of complement what they're doing. So
and so I think it adds to our quality of life. You slow down a little bit. You know, you can go for this stroll wherever, most places you live now. You know, whether it's, you know, a housing area or downtown, or like over by the park, and people enjoy the amenities at the park and the ski shows every week, and you've got boat competitions, and there's always something going on. But
it's life, you know. There's actual life happening right in your. You can see it from your balcony.
You got baseball games across the street, so
and the pool. Yep.
So there's that, and the building itself has a good sense of community, with variety of ages in the building, from under 30 to one woman who lives with her retired daughter just turned 100, and had a big party for her in the atrium.
Good for her. Oh, and I have photos, and you can look at this online. Actually, do you want to drop the website link, or not link, but just mention what the...
Yes, so if you go to Ellis Condos, ELLISCondos.com, and you can see some of the finishes. You'll see the common areas, the atrium, which makes this building so unique.
Right.
Besides the location, you've got a lot of common areas inside that you don't have in other locations.
No, not at all.
There's a workout area. There's a TV lounge area, which gets quite a good workout with the sports, football and baseball, basketball, NCAA, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the atrium on the second living floor, which is really 3 floors up, has live trees. And
That was something that was so cool to me because it's like you're actually getting to breathe real oxygen indoors. And since you're in this atrium, and just not everybody necessarily understands what an atrium is. It's an old term that obviously came, or I shouldn't say obviously, but it's from Rome, right? That's like where it actually where it actually came from, and it was like the people that were like upper class at the time that were like trying to grow into political status and everything. They would have a very specific kind of house or home, and they were all pretty similar. I forget the name of them, but they all had an atrium in the middle.
Yeah.
And so that was so like people that were coming through would have that kind of like, larger than life feel. And that's what this is doing also. And so the cool thing about this atrium is basically, just, and not trying to hog this here, it's like I'm trying to imagine it, but it's, what is it, like 40 feet up in the air?
Let's see.
Like the ceiling to the...
So we've got 11-foot floor to floor. So, yeah, it would be about that up to the cupola on top.
And so the cupola is like basically a lighthouse. It's like a glass, I don't know if it was a hexagon, or a circle exactly, but it's basically like, it kind of reminds a person of a lighthouse. And there's actually this really cool light in the bottom of it that
shines up there at night. So if you're coming down Ellis, or if you're over on the interstate and you aren't driving and you look over, you'll be able to see it lit up. So, yeah, makes it a little landmark.
It's that attention to detail that makes it so cool because, and like if you're in this huge area, like I don't know what the square footage of the actual, atrium is, but I would say it's probably like, I don't know, 4,000 square feet, 5.
Yeah.
It's large. Let's put it that way,
it's
right?
100 by 50, yes.
So, and so there was a wet bar there and...
Tables and chairs. People have gatherings, parties, meetings, and then there's some outdoor benches and chairs, too, with...
Like post lights?
Yes. You've got the lantern lights that are on at night.
Yeah.
And then you can go and have conversation among the trees and the plants, and Pearson's florists have put all that in. Those trees have grown over a foot since they've been brought in there, so they do like it.
Hey, that's because of the atrium, right?
Right.
And because it's allowing natural sunlight within that glass kind of chamber to come into that space. So it's really cool because it's like you're outside. In the way that they have it set up, it's like you have like astroturf around, and then you have plants on top of it, so it feels really organic, and it is pretty organic. But then there's also paths, so you feel like you're outside, but you don't have the bugs. Yeah,
there's cobblestone paths that kind of wind around. So yeah. So
really unique,
very nice. And so then the other areas. So there are, if you're driving by, you'll see some people have large decks off of theirs. So the first floor above the parking footprint is larger than the building. So there's 6 units that have a private patio off of their unit instead of the deck. Yes, they are.
Jan took us out on hers, and I was like, what is this thing, like 1,000 square feet out here? It's like, this is the biggest deck. And, it's something
we
like
have
that.
one unit left. It's a Maid of Iowa.
Okay.
And it has, instead of the deck, that becomes a bonus room, and it has a 25 by 40 foot patio.
That's huge.
Yes.
Man,
so
like people don't even understand. It's hard. Like we're in the industry, so we're like, oh, we kind of like have a spatial
that's the size
reference.
of a house.
It is, really
Yes.
like.
So people set
large.
up their barbecue or whatever. They'll have eating. Somebody has a nice bar area.
I think I saw a hammock.
Yes, hammocks and plants.
Yeah,
lots of plants, and we have a few gardeners that downsized from their home and still have their plants out there. So
they're loving that because that's kind of probably a sacrifice that many places aren't able to accommodate for that style of living. So for those few people that got on that main level early, that's huge if they wanted to do that.
And the building's pet friendly. You can have 2 dogs or 2 cats. So that's going on too. And those some of the people with the decks have pets. So
is there a weight limit or anything like that we should be thinking about or being concerned about?
We're not doing a weight limit. They have decided to do that. The dog must be people friendly and other pet friendly. So the largest dog is Bernie Doodle,
Oh, yeah,
and
big.
wonderfully behaved, and everybody loves the dog. And there's a dog that goes to work every day with its owner, and I think there's a bulldog, and there's a few cats. So
Nice mix.
yeah, a mix. So just the everybody that's moving in there, they know they have to walk their dog, and so
We see a lot of dogs coming through the main area in and out of this building too. So
yeah,
of all sizes. So that's another good thing about like even this building. Like I think all good condos are going to be accommodating of that because our pets are like our friends, and as long as they're not
family.
yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like as long as they don't hurt anybody. Like
Yeah,
why would you want to be like, oh, I'm not allowed to bring my friend here or my family member? You know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I got a dog and a cat, and they're family for sure.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no doubt about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I think another cool thing that I saw was the building was geothermal,
Yes.
which is super efficient for people that don't know what that means necessarily.
So geothermal is taking advantage of the warmth and coolness underground. So in the summer, we think about that heat. We have closed loop. There's a variety of different geothermal plans, but Ellis Landings did a closed loop lateral loops that are underground 10 feet. And so it's always cool there. The pipes run through and come back up to the air conditioner. And so it doesn't have to work so hard it takes advantage to blow off that
Yeah.
coolness. And then likewise in the winter, it's always like 50 degrees underground that deep. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to heat up the air as much. And
It's not negative 11 or something, you know?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it helps on both ends, heating and cooling. And the empty units that are just running heat and air conditioning we've seen an average of $30 to $35 a month electric bill.
God,
So
that's incredible.
anything beyond that is, your appliances and, whatever you use for
Yeah,
electricity.
like
So
depending on your own demand and
Right.
what stuff you have plugged in. And just to kind of bring a little more reference, because I know that we're really technical in our understanding of geothermal and stuff, but like basically what you're saying with these pipes is like they're buried underground below the frost line, and so the constant temperature is 50 degrees underground, right?
Right.
And so these pipes are essentially running water, correct?
Correct.
And so that water stays at 50 degrees regardless. And so that's the baseline for the heating and air system to come from. So we're not trying to, like a typical forced air system in the winter, combat, the outside elements with whatever our insulation is, with just fire and blowing air through a duct system.
Right.
Or AC, the same thing, just having to combat it's like 100 degrees last week here.
Right.
So if, there's some part that's buried that's taking the meat of the brunt and it's 50% or 50 degrees, then that just makes it so much better for everybody's pocketbook.
That's right.
And so,
And less energy. I mean,
Way less.
Way less. And then you also have the common walls, so you're not taking the brunt of the heat or air, on all four sides. So
yeah, that's another great
you've
point.
got
Definitely.
neighbors that it's like nesting, I guess. Whatever. So you have less outside exposure.
Yeah, no, that's actually, that's huge. And so even further, it's like, before we had refrigerators, it's like, people would basically their cellar or cooler. That's what cellars were for. It's because it stayed cooler down there, right?
Right.
Or warmer, depending on, better
Right.
than
It
outside.
didn't freeze, but it would be cooler in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also the same logic why we, when we build things, we have our footings down below, because that means that the earth isn't actually freezing down there, which would create movement amongst the concrete footing, and we can have a stable foundation to build things. So just a little further on that.
And that's why we like basements in Iowa.
That is why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in Arizona,
Yeah.
good luck with the basement. They don't do
Yeah.
it there. you
Right.
know.
Right.
Well, sometimes I should say, but I think it's just the ground's too hard. And they probably love basements there if they could get them in, get
Yeah.
the tools to go down deep enough. But so anyway, just to piggyback and give a little further elaboration about that geothermal. So that was that. So that's cool. There's just a million great things on this. Like
We haven't talked about the tax abatement.
yeah, I want to keep talking about it all. So just go ahead and fire away.
This should have been number one, I think.
It could have been, yeah.
So this project did get accepted for a tax abatement with the city of Cedar Rapids. So what that means is you pay taxes on the unimproved land, which each unit has an assessed value of pre-construction of $4,000.
Oh man, that's
and you
great.
pay taxes on that. Then the building was
that'd be nice.
built, and the land and the building values went up. And it's a 10-year abatement, so it goes through 2030. So you would be paying taxes then, and I have to check if you pay them in 2031 or that's the first year it's fully assessed. I'm not
Right.
sure. So you pay you have an assessment. You don't pay taxes on that when you purchase it. And should the market go up like this last year, there were homes that maybe were here, and then they're assessed a little bit higher. You pay on that difference.
Okay.
So the entire year's tax, property tax, can run, I think one was $250, one of them.
Right.
So it's a very big savings. As you know, we're close to 2% on property taxes.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, when we're thinking about any properties out there, you know, it's like, well, what do you, if you don't buy cash and you do like a regular, you know, financing, you know, it's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So if, you know, one of those T's of the PITI, you know, is not really a thing for you, then that's cash flow.
That's
So
cash flow.
beautiful.
And so I was talking to another agent. That makes people able to afford so much more house, because you're maybe $500 a month, $400 a month that you aren't putting into that payment.
Right. Think about if
So-
that went into some investment. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you have to slice it up for how it benefits you individually, but like, you know, you're getting a lot of property without having to, you know, put all that cash into the cash flow situation.
Right.
So that's cool
Right.
that the city's doing that
Yeah.
for that project.
And that's to encourage new development and new projects in the city. So it helps the city in the long run with the property taxes.
Oh, absolutely.
And it helps the projects get off the ground.
And you know, the whole point of the projects is, well, A, we need places to live, but cool places to live, and making our community more attractive to outside people that may consider moving here for
Right.
work or for whatever. It's like,
Right.
you know, people don't really want to live in places that aren't, you know, nice, right? And don't have unique features, which real estate, you know, uniqueness is one of the largest things. And that's there's only one of these buildings, and it's super unique. And that actually brings up another good point. So this is the only condo style building that is going to ever be, well, I shouldn't say ever, because at least in the known future with the plans of the city, they're not going to allow any other further condo development. So
So
this
the way
is
the flood mitigation plan has evolved, they've gone through a couple, but it's final now because that drawing you can.
yeah, I'll put for everybody, I'll put the actual prints out there of what they're going to do online also. But I do have like a little mock-up that I'm just going to hold up for the camera to kind of give an idea here. And you can kind of see, and I didn't actually know what was going to happen until I saw this yesterday. So like,
So the big green blob that the second smaller blob is O Avenue, gateway to the river.
yep,
And everything then towards the river is green space and park. Closer to Ellis Park, though, they're going to attach flood wall going over to the park, and then have a berm going up to 8th Street up there. And then from the other side of the building, it will go a berm. And actually, Ellis Boulevard is going to curve and go, because it has to elevate to go over the berm. So it'll move up to 8th Street and go over the berm and then join the old Ellis as it rejoins in the park. So there'll
Very
be a
cool.
little bit of parking change at the Ball Diamond.
yeah,
And what is currently Ellis Boulevard in front of the building will become a cul-de-sac.
Which is incredible for the property values.
Yes.
Will be.
Will be. So
Yeah.
there won't be through traffic right in front of the building.
It'll be grass. It'll be beautiful.
And yes.
And
so
and I heard a rumor that the power lines might get buried also, because they're going to have to rework that whole area, which
Right.
At least for in front of the building, which
it's just being more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
And as the city planned, the Ellis Boulevard is going to be a true boulevard with trees, and it'll be I don't know if they have a boulevard down the middle, but it's going to be all landscaped and quite nice. And they've just completed the 2 roundabouts at E and F,
yeah,
and
I
they're
just drove by there today actually.
working on getting that connected over to First. So it'll be all the
be
way
awesome.
to 6th Street. Yeah.
It's going to really, like, I think when I think about it, it's, if you're not really like staying up to date on this, like most of us aren't, because who's got time to just like study what the city's going to be doing with their plans. I actually was like, man, like, just like any investment, whether it be a stock or it be, real estate's a great example, but it's like, if you have vision and can understand what's coming down the road, if you buy the stock, at that price where not everybody can visually understand it and see it, and there's just way fewer people that, can see or that are looking at this plan, first off. But then second of all, once the beautification and the actual thing happens, then it's like light bulb moment. People are like, oh my God, I got to be a part of this. And then all of a sudden, guess what? Like supply and demand. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's another great point for anybody wanting to be down in that area, I think, for considering this project. And I think the price points are actually really good.
Yeah. Yeah. They are. We've seen them appreciate already.
Yeah.
But yes, once it's sold out, then
that's it.
That's it. And the way the berms are going and everything, there won't be room. You can't build outside of the flood mitigation because of FEMA rules. So
Right.
you have to be inside of the flood wall or the berm. And so there won't be anything directly on the water like this building.
Yeah. And this is cool. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what there's way more happening here than I ever imagined. And I was already interested in it. And so that was like kind of what I really felt like, calling you up about. And
Yeah.
we could probably just keep talking forever. What else can I think about? Do you have anything else that you wanted to like bring up about the project at all, or about just anything in general, real estate in the area related, or, your personal business and how you like to, service your clients or anything? It's like anything at all.
I was just going to say, as far as if anybody interested,
Yeah.
I do have occasional open houses, but it is easier to schedule a private tour like we did yesterday.
Definitely.
Because there's so much
You're not
to
going to
talk
know what
about.
to even look at. It's so huge.
And if you wander around, without an agent that knows the property,
That's right.
You're just not going to know what you're looking at.
Hey, if
But
anybody calls me about it, I'm going to probably just send them right over to you, because you're
Or come
obviously
along.
the expert. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so a lot of times, call your favorite, your best realtor, and have them schedule an appointment, and I go with the agent, even
Oh, see, that's really great, actually.
and help rather than the agent and I going back and forth. It's just easier.
Way easier.
And so I work with the buyers in making those selections on their various things, just because I'm familiar with each floor plan. But
Which is what you would want. Like me being an agent, I don't even care about the representation process. It's not about that. And the clients shouldn't feel that either. What they should feel is like, the white glove treatment by the person who's most competent to do that. And that's where we should be working together, as I personally
And
feel.
I've had agents that were very close to their clients, and they went to
Yeah.
those flooring appointments and cabinet appointments and
It's a good agent.
helped weigh in on the color of the paint, and it's
Yeah.
like gave their opinion because they were trusted with that client and had, in those cases maybe sold their houses and helped them buy houses.
And they
So
feel safe.
they
but,
know
but
what
you're
they
still
like.
there, right? And so
Yes.
that's where it's like, that's what's important.
You
So
get
it's a collaborative
double
effort.
double the specialness.
At least, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes, I think I heard one time somebody say it's like, there's two is more than two. It's like there's one, and then once you put like, you know, two people together, synergy happens, which equals more than two. And so I think that that's kind of similar there too. Like something better happens when everybody just like gets on the same page, and then ideas start flying. And me being a music guy, like, and playing instruments, like, I definitely know when you're doing your best work out there and playing with other musicians, you're not really even a part of it. You're just watching yourself like do these incredible things that you're like, if I tried to think about this right now, good luck. Like, you know, but it's like everybody's contributing, and then there's just something great. You just kind of sit back and everybody's watching it happen. So similar thing.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So anybody interested in it, just seeing it, whatever, watch for open house, but do give me a call. That's the easiest. Or call your agent.
That's what I was going to say. Do you want to like, and I can put the information out there also on our website once I get the blog post put together for this. But do you want to just right now drop your phone number and your email for anybody watching or listening to this?
319, of course, 310-2879 is my direct line.
Okay.
And Tamra, Tamra, at tg-sold.com is my email. And so either contact me directly or have your agent call me.
Awesome. Do you have anything further that you'd like to add about anything?
I don't think so.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
I think we covered a lot.
I know. I feel like, you know, there's always
There's probably something. But
I know. Hey, but that's why they should probably call you, right?
Right.
So, okay. Well, thank you a million for, you know, the tour yesterday.
Yeah.
First
my
off.
pleasure, Rob.
And then for just, you know, helping bring a little bit further elaboration or collaboration to what's going on over there. And just real quick, last thing, I'm just going to hold this up, and it's not the best, but this is the building. I'm sure it will resonate. I should have done this right at the beginning. But this is what we're talking about here. And
here you go. Here's an actual photo.
Yep. And I will put I took some really awesome shots that I'm excited to put up there too. So wonderful. All right. Again, Tamra Garman, Pinnacle Realty. And thank you for coming aboard and just telling us what you know.
All right.